Embassy 37 years ago. He was in charge of disaster management. Tonight, we reveal who he is on your favorite weekly program, The Cabinet. From wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world, thank you for joining us on Prime Edition. And it begins right now. Abandoned with injuries, Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi hospitalized after being found abandoned in a coffee plantation. Vote as a block. Mboya Governor George Mboya rallies Western Kenya region ahead of the 2027 poll as he makes a whistle-stop political tour. It's official. Sports CS Salim Vuria opens Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay for use in hosting 2025 Madaraka Day celebrations. Very much once again, a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Mboya, our sign language interpreter. Tonight is Lucy Mwaura. Speak to us on all our social platforms at KBC Channel 1. We open this coverage with that update on the Juja Member of Parliament, George Koimburi's story. He is receiving treatment at the Karen Hospital in Nairobi. Remember, Koimburi was found dumped at a coffee plantation by border operators in Kiambu County after he was allegedly taken by police on Sunday. However, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has denied any involvement in the abduction. Give us on Maina is the one opening our coverage with that update.
A day after he was forcefully taken by persons believed to be police officers after attending a church service in Ruiru, Kiambu County, Juja lawmaker George Koimburi was found abandoned at Jacaranda Coffee Plantation. The lawmaker, who appeared injured, lying on the ground, is said to have been noticed by boda operators passing nearby. He was taken to a hospital in Ruiru before he was transferred to Karen Hospital for specialized treatment.
Early this morning, he was found in a coffee plantation in Kebichoi, that is in the Githunguri constituency, badly beaten and in very serious condition. He was taken to a hospital for first aid and later brought here where he was admitted. And I've just seen him and I've talked to the doctors and they have confirmed that he has serious soft tissue injuries.
After a briefing by doctors, leaders led by former deputy president told the media that the Juja MP could not speak.
He has lost his voice and the doctors are working round the clock to restore his vocal cords. And the Honorable Koimburi has been able to communicate through writing because he is not able to speak.
The National Police Service has, however, denied any involvement in the abduction, but confirmed that they had sought Koimburi since Friday in connection with alleged land fraud and misuse of national government constituency development funds. The opposition leaders have threatened to sue the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Service over the matter.
First of all, there is a court order against his arrest, and we'll be pursuing that in court. We want to sue the head of police, the head of DCI, the Attorney General, the Minister of Interior, which is supposed to be taking care of security of Kenyans.
Give us in mind, Prime Edition.
Of course, Lensa Odingo has taken over from the immediate sign language interpreter, Lucy Mwaura. Speak to us on our socials at KBC Channel 1 on all those platforms. Let's move on to our next item. Stakeholders in the pest control sector are pleading with the government to exempt repellents used in the fight against malaria from value-added tax. C.S. Johnson Company, which appeared before the National Assembly Finance Committee for the Finance Bill 2025 public hearings, said that this would lower the cost of products to boost the fight against malaria. The Kenya Association of Air Operators, however, had a difficult time defending tax exemptions amid poor performance of the aviation industry. Kamchemeza is on that story.
Pest control sector players say the exemption from tax of raw materials used in the manufacture of special mosquito repellents will ensure their affordability for Kenyans in malaria endemic regions.
Over the last 11 years, we have been on a mission to produce at scale special repellents in the fight against malaria, which is what is bringing us here to bring our submission to get some exemptions related to that project.
You must have seen, if you come from the malaria endemic regions of the Western Kenya, Rift Valley, and probably Nyanza, you must have seen it being tested there at no cost at all to the Kenyan citizens or those who deserve it the most.
They say the repellents are not listed as zero-rated products, subjecting them to 16% VAT.
I am aware that there is mosquitoes that become repellent resistant. We have invested very heavily on entomological research, have not stopped that research. So if anything is going to be evolving from an entomology perspective, then we will be at the forefront of being able to be ahead of it as well.
Another exemption that we are requesting for is on IDF and RDL. We all know the inputs that go towards manufacturing of these special repellents are very specialized, and most of them are not readily available within the local market.
This comes as the Kenya Association of Air Operators was hard-pressed to explain what growth the aviation industry has gained from tax incentives given by the government.
You find like Air Tanzania or Uganda, they are improving. They are getting new aircrafts. Whereas in Kenya, we are still going down. Yet you have been given some benefits.
KQ is only one operator out of 78 air operator licenses that exist in the country. And so sometimes we get lost in the fact that KQ KQ equals aviation in Kenya. KQ is not equal to aviation in Kenya. There are a lot of operators. In fact, there are more than five national carriers, I believe. And maybe one of the proxies to growth of the sector in the period is what my CEO mentioned, is over the last year and a half, we've had more than 30 new aircraft on the AOC register at KCAA because of the certainty that was demonstrated by the tax policy.
The Finance Bill 2025 seeks to reintroduce VAT, import declaration fees, and railway development levy on aircraft parts and maintenance services, measures that would fundamentally alter the cost structure of aviation in Kenya. The public hearings continue tomorrow. Kamchemeza for Prime Edition.
And of course, we will be monitoring those proceedings for you tomorrow. Let's now go to an item that we teased at the beginning of this live broadcast. Senate's Devolution Committee has given the county government of Turkana and Landmark Holding Limited 30 days to resolve a contractual stalemate that has delayed the occupation of the county headquarters, whose contribution has taken 11 years. Appearing before the senators, the main contractor decried delays by the Turkana county government in appointing a consultant to review the financial claims made by the contractor for the building to be handed over for use. Currently, the claims have risen to 1.1 billion shillings from the initial cost of 695 million shillings due to penalties and interests, even as the county government maintains that only 764 million shillings is payable. Here is that report.
The Senate Devolution Committee invited the county government of Turkana and Landmark Holdings Limited, the main contractor for the construction of county headquarters in Lodwar, which has taken 11 years. While the county government attributed the delays to poor intergovernmental relations, disagreement between the contractor and subcontractors, and insecurity, the main contractor accused the county government of delaying the appointment of a consultant to finalize the project. Senators dismissed the excuses as frivolous.
And again, the consultant on that one, we have to know who are we dealing with. I would not go and deal with His Excellency the Governor on technical things. Where I need is the technical team, the technical representative of the county to meet us, and then we verify the works done and we continue from there.
Because there were issues rising for penalties, which we are totally unable to derive from any law. So we feel those are necessary delays. This Senate should really guide us and direct us properly, and even the position of the handing over.
When the contract for the construction of the county offices was awarded in 2014, the cost was 695 million shillings. But delays have attracted penalties and interest, and the county government has so far paid 740 million shillings. The contractor, however, maintains the cost now stands at 1.1 billion shillings and counting, as his equipment continue lying idle at the site.
We'll sit as the team, factor some resources in the budget, in the coming budget.
It is a building that I was really, really happy to see that it was done as well as it was done. But it is not anything if it is not being used.
We note that you factored, and this was raised by the Auditor General, 82,588,770 for the installation of AC, when the contract sum for this was 45 million. And so far you've paid 14 million on it, and we would want to know whether when the AC is being installed and operationalized.
The senators now say the contract must be concluded and offices handed over within 30 days. Gishoke Washira, Prime Edition.
On to Health Watch now. Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale on Monday inaugurated the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel and its Secretariat to spearhead the implementation of universal health coverage in Kenya. The advisory panel, chaired by renowned public health expert Professor Walter Jaoko, will provide technical guidance to the Ministry of Health as well as the Social Health Authority on key health areas. Kasi Chana Masha reports.
8 months since the implementation of social health insurance, the scheme is still facing a couple of challenges, among them inadequate data and high cost of medical services.
I've appointed and officially gazetted the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel through Gazette Notice number 5044 of 23rd April of 2025.
To enhance its effectiveness, the Ministry of Health has inaugurated an advisory panel mandated to provide expert advice on the design of and review of benefit packages and tariffs to both the Ministry of Health and Social Health Authority.
Just from the time I was gazetted, we've had a lot of calls and a lot of people not fully understanding. They'll be thinking that now we'll be able to answer all the questions. So I think there's a room for people to fully understand what the role of this panel is.
You are to provide us with expert advice on the design and the review of benefit package and tariffs under our Social Health Authority, under our Social Health Insurance Framework. The benefits and package and tariff must be evidence-based. It must reflect equity. It must be financially sustainable. And again, it must align with our national health priorities.
The panel, chaired by Professor Walter Jaoko, will also assess disease burden, population health needs to guide policy decision and support evidence synthesis to aid the Ministry and SHA in structuring benefit packages and tariffs.
Of universal health care, the working of social health insurance fund, and the benefits package and tariff was not there during the NHIF. It was a very unilateral decision. Somebody will call the CEO of the defunct NHIF and he can give you 5 million. That will not be the case.
Speaking during the event at Afya House, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, emphasized the need to adopt data-driven decision-making, leverage digital solutions to improve service delivery and policy evaluation. Others who graced the inauguration were the Principal Secretary for Medical Services, Ouma Oluga, and his counterpart for Public Health, Mary Modhoni. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
And that report brings us to our first break here on Prime Edition. And for the taxpayers, you must remember that amnesty offer on the penalties and interests. We're coming back after this short break with the details of that story and others on this live broadcast. Stay with us.
Imagine a future where you can enjoy the fruits of your hard work without financial worries. A time when you can truly relax, travel, and pursue your passions. To achieve that dream, you need to plan today. With a cost of living constantly rising and inflation showing no signs of slowing down, the money you need today will be nearly 10 times higher by the time you retire. Without a solid retirement plan, you risk financial insecurity when your active income stops. That's why saving for retirement is necessary. Regardless of your age, it's never too early or too late to start planning. Engage with experts from any RBA registered individual pension plan for guidance in tailoring a retirement strategy based on your current lifestyle, future goals, and desired retirement age. This provides the fixed regular income you'll need after retirement to ensure you live comfortably without compromising your quality of life. The earlier you start saving, the more secure your future will be. Start saving for your retirement today and live your golden years the way you've always dreamed. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits. Across our great nation, transformation begins at the grassroots. Now, the journey to better service delivery, stronger governance, and empowered counties enters a bold new chapter. Join us for the official launch of the second Kenya Devolution Support Program, KDSP2, on May 27th from 12 p.m. at Enashipai Resort and Spa. This 4-year World Bank-funded initiative will strengthen county performance in managing and coordinating public resources, ensuring every Kenyan counts. The chief guest will be His Excellency Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. The second Kenya Devolution Support Program, strengthening county performance in financing, management, coordination, and accountability of resources.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news, and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Speak to us on all those platforms. What are your thoughts on the stories we are covering from you? Meanwhile, let's swing to the next item. Trans-Nzoia County Governor George Natembeya is rallying the Luhya community to vote as a bloc in the 2027 general poll as a path to claiming a share of the national cake. Natembeya, who traversed 5 counties in Western Kenya, including Kakamega, Bungoma counties, also took a swipe at a section of political leaders from the region over what he termed as their failure to deliver meaningful development. Mboya, who was accompanied by Roots Party leader George Wajakoya and other allies, dismissed claims that he is causing tribal divisions, saying his mission is about leadership.
Nimesema 2027 tutakuwa na nyumba yetu. Siasa ya kupeleka kwa meza, kualikwa kwa meza tumekataa. Hali masuala ya jamii zote imepangiwa, Mluya atakuwa kwa hiyo meza. Watu kunyanyazwa tena hatutaki. Wale viongozi ambao mnataka ndio tutaongea nao, si ndio? Hakuna mambo ya kudictate. Mluya 2027 lazima anaokoka.
Now, Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya has officially handed over Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay to the National Celebrations Steering Committee for the purposes of hosting the Madaraka Day National Celebrations that are set for the 1st of June 2025. During the handover ceremony that took place in the presence of Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo, Mvurya expressed confidence in the stadium's readiness to host the national event, emphasizing the government's commitment to decentralizing national celebrations right across the country. Timothy Kipnusu puts that story in perspective.
It's all systems go for the 2025 Madaraka Day celebrations, set to be held at Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay County. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya, who on Monday officially handed over the stadium to the National Celebration Steering Committee, expressed confidence in the stadium's readiness to host the national event.
And today we are very happy to say that 99% of the work is now complete, and we are gathered here because we are now handing over this facility to the Celebrations Committee.
The celebrations will be held under the theme Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, in line with the country's strategic focus on unlocking the potential of aquatic resources for sustainable development and economic transformation.
The contractor will also be running through other small works, especially externally, so that by Sunday, then this stadium, the people of Homa Bay and all Kenyans can witness the Madaraka Day celebrations.
Area Governor Gladys Wanga, who witnessed the handover, appreciated the government's decision to have her county host this year's Madaraka Day celebration, terming it a great honor.
Will agree with me that what has happened here looks a bit like a miracle. The transformation of the Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay has been miraculous in nature.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Now, if you are a taxpayer with outstanding arrears in principal tax, you will have your payment plan automatically generated by the iTax system. The generation of a payment plan will allow you, the taxpayer, to enjoy the amnesty offer on penalties and also on interests. The Kenya Revenue Authority is therefore calling on such taxpayers to update their records before the amnesty offer expires on Monday, the 30th of June. The fourth leg of the Tax Services Sensitization Roadshow kicked off Monday with stops in Kakamega County, with hundreds of taxpayers getting free filing return services. The campaign toured Butali, Malava, Kakamega Town, Mumias, Ekoro, and Kayega.
Whereby, but since the period is limited, we don't have extra time. We only have 1 month remaining. I encourage the taxpayers to make a lump sum payment and treat the tax amnesty. And short of the day, I want to encourage the taxpayers to take the amnesty, to make the payment, to make the lump sum payment, take the tax amnesty. Since in our tax act there is no another provision for waivers, so it's now or never.
As you take advantage of that amnesty, let's now move into another area. The Kenya Wildlife Service and its partners have embarked on an ambitious mission to capture and translocate 21 black rhinos to newer habitats. The first phase of the exercise kicked off with 2 black rhinos successfully moved from Ol Pejeta Conservancy to Segera Conservancy, that's in Laikipia County. The operation marks a new chapter in Kenya's conservation efforts. Here's that report.
Kenya Wildlife Service veterinary and capture teams at Ol Pejeta Conservancy in Nanyuki, Laikipia County sedated and secured 2 critically endangered black rhinos, launching the first phase of a historic 18-day translocation effort. The rhinos were carefully transported to Segera Conservancy, a newly designated 90 square kilometer sanctuary that meets strict ecological and security standards. The mission is part of Kenya's National Recovery and Action Plan for Black Rhinos for the year 2022 to 2026, aimed at expanding habitat range and boosting the species' number.
We have walked a journey with the management of Segera to reintroduce back the black rhinos, a journey of more than 4 years, and today we have successfully been able to land here with 2 very healthy black rhinos that are male.
By relocating 21 genetically diverse rhinos from Ol Pejeta, Lewa and Nakuru, conservationists hope to ease pressure and establish a new breeding population for endangered rhino species.
We're extremely excited to be here today. This, for me personally, has been a 22-year journey to come to this occasion and welcome the rhinos back where they originally came from, in Laikipia on Segera soil.
The exercise, costing 14 million shillings, is jointly funded by the Ministry of Wildlife and Segera Conservancy.
It is a bold affirmation of Kenya's enduring commitment to securing a future of one of the world's most iconic yet critically endangered species.
Each rhino will be fitted with a tracking device for real-time monitoring and round-the-clock security. Alvin Kaunda reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Now, when terrorists bombed the American embassy here in Nairobi, Kenya in August 1998, that's about 37 years ago, Gideon Ndambuki was the cabinet minister in charge of development and disasters management. He spearheaded and coordinated search as well as rescue operations alongside other agencies in that attack that left 220 people dead and thousands injured. Ndambuki served in 4 government ministries in the 5 years of Moi's final term, that's between 1998 and 2002. He is our focus tonight on the cabinet.
Moi appointment in the Ukambani region, Ndambuki in 1998 was appointed the minister in the office of the president in charge of development, disasters and the drought management program in the Directorate of Personnel Management. During Moi's frequent cabinet reshuffles, Ndambuki was moved from the office of the president to the ministries of lands and settlements, higher education, science and technology, and economic planning and national development. As minister in charge of disaster management in 1998, the country was hit by a severe drought, and Ndambuki had to traverse the country distributing food to drought victims as well as victims of the El Nino floods that followed. He was also involved in spearheading and coordinating the search and rescue operations following the 1998 terrorist bomb attack at the American embassy in Nairobi. During his tenure in the Ministry of Economic Planning and National Development, he is credited with negotiating funding for Kenyan farmers as well as export trade deals. As Lands and Settlements Chief, he is remembered for leading the computerization of the ministry's records and enhancing revenue collection. In 2001, he was transferred to the newly created Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology as its first minister. Here, he developed polytechnics and vocational training centers across the country. After the 2007 elections, he was appointed the Assistant Minister for Agriculture in the Grand Coalition government. In the 2013 general election, Ndambuki unsuccessfully contested the Makueni Senate seat, losing it to Mutula Kilonzo Jr., after which he retired from active politics. In 2017, he was appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta to the position of Chairman, Board of Trustees of the National Social Security Fund, NSSF, a position he held until 2022. For the cabinet, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Ben Troy corrects that it's in fact 27 years ago and not 37 years, as I'd mentioned earlier. Well, we're taking our second break here on Prime Edition. Coming up, a look at the day's business with Betty Kiptum. Stay with us.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi, usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia, tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Ijumaa tarehe 30 mwezi Mei na Jumamosi tarehe 31 tutakuwa na mobile clinic mjini Kisumu, pale Kenyatta Grounds na Achok, Nyalenda, maeneo ya Mega Mall. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Sasa unuputi gani?
I've only been married for a few years and already akona mtoto nje.
Sijui unataka niseme nini.
It is called owning up to your mistake. And honestly, mbona tukuamka tuende?
In fact, mpigie huyo mama Kim, mwambie utaki kazi. Nitatafuta msichana mwingine. Nafikiri hizo nyumba zingine hazina shida zao.
Take some time. Kwa sababu pende usipende, we need to talk. Good evening. Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. Time for the business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, millers intending to procure maize from the Strategic Grain Reserve will be required to show proof of milling before making full payments of their total allocation. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the National Cereals and Produce Board will start releasing maize from the reserve to millers this week to stabilize maize prices.
The government blames the current maize shortage on hoarding of available stocks by farmers expecting better prices. This has seen the price increase to 4,700 shillings per 90 kg bag from 3,500 shillings in January this year. To stabilize maize prices, the government has released the first batch of 200,000 bags to millers from the Strategic Grain Reserve. The stocks held at the National Cereals and Produce Board depots will be allocated to millers, associations and individual millers at a subsidized rate of 4,250 shillings per 90 kg bag.
We have enough maize in our strategic food reserves. We also still have enough maize being held by our large-scale farmers, so there shouldn't be any worry.
To deter hoarding, millers are required to make an initial payment for 25% of their total allocation and provide proof of milling and distribution of flour before the full allocation is released.
We are releasing it to millers, also learning institutions. There are procedures that millers or learning institutions can access the maize from government. The price per bag of 90 kg is 4,267.
Millers are required to submit utilization report before their final payment is accepted by the board. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And the Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy has pledged to empower and equip the youth with diverse ICT skills to tap into global digital job opportunities. Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary, that is William Kafogo, says plans are underway to set up ICT hubs in Tudor, Shimanzi, Old Town, Majengo and Tononoka wards of Mombasa County to boost digital literacy and address youth unemployment. Speaking during the graduation of 250 students at the Mvita ICT Hub, Kafogo said over 22,000 government services are now accessible online.
Na pia nimeona mna talent ajabu hapa. Hiyo hub ikuwe pia center of talent innovations, ila watu waweze kujimudu kimaisha kupitia mitandao. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia tutapata hubs 1450 zikiwemo 47 centers of excellence, mahali tutatrain walimu wa kwenda kutrain wale wanafanya katika hub. Pia tuweke pesa ya kuweza kupatia mikopo ya kompyuta vijana na wasichana na wale ambao wote wataweza kutumia digital hubs.
And I promise we'll work with our youth ili wapate kufaidika na hii program. Today is 300, tutasonga taratibu.
Now, the National Coffee Cooperative Union is calling for a one-year extension to June 2026 for the implementation of requirement that all coffee sales proceeds be paid directly to farmers' individual bank accounts. National Coffee Cooperative Union Chairperson Francis Ngone says this extension will enable coffee cooperatives to complete data cleanup, facilitate opening of bank and cooperative accounts for all farmers, and enhance financial literacy.
The government introduced the direct settlement system in August 2023 to enhance transparency for payments to coffee farmers. However, about 2 years on, a number of farmers, especially in rural and marginalized areas, do not yet have a bank or a SACCO accounts. Therefore, the National Coffee Cooperative Union Chairperson Francis Ngone has written a memorandum to Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya calling for a one-year extension up to June 2026 for implementation of the directive requiring direct payments to farmers' individual bank accounts. In the statement it reads, this extension will enable cooperatives to complete data cleanup, facilitate the opening of bank and SACCO accounts for all farmers, and enhance financial literacy. End of quote. He is calling for a safeguard of direct settlement system platform to ensure that it is not politicized by vested interests and parties. The National Coffee Cooperative Union is also keen on a review of the current levy structure to ensure that it does not erode farmer income and that proceeds are transparently managed to support farmer-facing services. Currently, Coffee Brokers, Capital Markets Authority, Nairobi Coffee Exchange and Direct Settlement System are allocated coffee marketing levies. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
There is an urgent call to close the artificial intelligence infrastructure gap to unlock Africa's full potential in digital innovation. Foster Bagamoto, Undersecretary of State at Italy's Ministry of Enterprises, who is on an official visit to Kenya, warns that this technological divide significantly hinders Africa's capacity to develop and scale AI-driven solutions tailored to local challenges in healthcare, agriculture and energy. However, Bagamoto sees these as entry points for multilateral partnerships for technology transfer mechanisms.
Is estimated to create about $2.4 billion injected into our GDP by 2030, potentially create about 30,000 jobs by 2028. And so that places Kenya at a very unique opportunity. And we cannot, and as I always say, the cost of inaction and the cost of missed opportunity will be detrimental to our economy because all other countries are in this race.
We have a lot of problems, whether it's in the infrastructure space, in the healthcare space, in the security space, whatever it is. And young folks like you and I need to get up there and build AI companies that make real solutions for Africans, but in a manner that is much more affordable and much more efficient. The moment you do that more and more, we're going to see a lot of investment coming this way, because by 2060, we will be the largest workforce on the planet.
Most important thing is the data sets, because if you have data that comes from Europe and you try to utilize that framework in Africa, it might not necessarily work. So having our own data being generated locally allows that framework to work better for ourselves, our innovations, and that way you can be able again to say which is the direction that we need to take, which are the sectors that we need to build more, because the data is actually built from ground up and not just brought in and you're trying to fix it into the ecosystem.
Standard Chartered Bank has committed to invest $1.5 billion over the next 5 years globally to grow its affluent business. The bank says it is doubling efforts to support affluent clients, including entrepreneurs, sophisticated investors, and the emerging affluent to grow, protect, and pass on their wealth to the next generation. The 2024 Africa Wealth Report ranks Kenya 4th after South Africa, Egypt and Nigeria, with the highest number of dollar millionaires. This number is expected to grow by 65% in the next 10 years. To tap this growing market, Standard Chartered Bank has unveiled its latest wealth campaign aimed at the affluent segment in Kenya. Standard Chartered's head of wealth and retail banking, Edith Chumba, says the bank will execute a data-driven and personalized approach to client engagement.
Clients now have need to diversify their banking experience. And this for us is a unique capability. We are able to help clients in Kenya to get access to those markets. What excites me is the young professionals that join the market from school, whether it's doctors, engineers, or even just young entrepreneurs who work hard and make their own money. We must be ready to help them because they're looking to make that money, but at some point that money has to give them good returns. And that's where we come in as an international wealth manager for affluent clients.
The lender plans to use 50% of its total investment on recruiting and nurturing relationship managers and wealth specialists to provide enhanced client service, including wealth advisory and legacy planning, and a further 25% to build brand awareness and association with wealth.
Relationship manager is the primary channel to our affluent clients. And the relationship manager's responsibility is to unpack the need of the client. So the conversation, the engagement is need-based. And as a bank, we have to invest heavily in our relationship managers. And maybe just to share some stats, in Kenya, all our relationship managers are professionally certified as wealth managers.
Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition. To budgeting matters now, the government plans to cap the fiscal deficit at 4.5% of GDP for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, down from 5.1% in the current financial year. The move is part of a broader strategy to streamline public spending, and address the country's fiscal challenges. In the long term, Kenya plans to reduce the fiscal deficit to 2.7% of GDP by the financial year 2028-2029. Here is Nduta Mukami with more details.
Revenue shortfalls and high debt servicing costs continue to impede Kenya's fiscal progress, highlighting the need to achieve sustainable public finances and macroeconomic stability. A cabinet meeting chaired by President William Ruto earlier in April approved budgetary realignments in what it termed as a move towards fiscal discipline and reducing public debt. To actualize this, President Ruto directed ministries and state departments to review their expenditures and to implement necessary adjustments in close coordination with the National Treasury. To allow the government to focus on development priorities, the government is introducing long-term cost-cutting measures including dissolving at least 47 state corporations with overlapping functions and integrating their roles into respective ministries, reducing the number of government advisors by at least 50%, eliminating budgets for the offices of the First Lady, spouse of the Deputy President, and the spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, removing confidential budgets in executive offices, and refinancing international debt with concessional and green financing options. By implementing these strategies, the government aims to achieve a more sustainable fiscal position, reduce public debt vulnerabilities, and create fiscal space to deliver essential public goods and services. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
And of course, that story is part of packages we shall be having for you until the budget day of 12th of June this year, when the budget will be read. And that's it from Business Desk here tonight on Prime Edition. Sports news is coming up. Mboya is standing by to bring you the latest. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Pamela. Where's Pamela?
Morning, Grandma. Morning, Grandpa.
No.
Take your tea. Who texts in the morning?
Hey. Why are you not in school?
I cannot go to school with trauma.
Unbelievable.
Umepatikanaje huku? Si nimefikiria nitakutadana hapa.
Time ulikuwa unafaa kunisaidia. Ulinipeana nikauawe.
Imagine hiyo haikuwa plan yangu. Care to explain?
Words have ears.
Acha nikwambie. I will fight my tooth to the bone. No. What brings you here? We used to work with your dad.
They say the earth without art would just be, get it? We circumnavigate the globe and traverse the local scene to bring you art and culture at their very best. From fine art, culinary art, performing arts, and even cultural events, you name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kasioki, and I will be serving you this and much, much more each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome to Sports. Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya says that the Ministry of Sports has now embarked on the process of preparation for national soccer team Harambee Stars ahead of the African Nations Championship CHAN set for August later on this year. Kenya, together with Uganda and Tanzania, will be hosting the continental event for home-based placed players only, and also the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations.
With the renovation and construction works of football grounds in the country ongoing well, the Ministry of Sports is now shifting focus to national team Harambee Stars preparations for the African Nation Championship to kick off in August this year.
Kenya is ready to host CHAN, and therefore any reports, social media or otherwise, should be ignored. We have invested a lot of money in our infrastructure in Kasarani, in Nyayo. We have already paid 1.6 billion hosting fee, and therefore all the other processes are normal processes to ensure that we are in tandem with the progress of making sure that Kenya hosts CHAN.
Kenya Under-17 Girls National Team Junior Starlets played in the Under-17 World Cup last year, winning a match against Mexico in the group stages and narrowly missed out on a second consecutive participation in the global event after losing to Cameroon in their final qualifier. The Kenya Under-20 men's team Rising Stars secured a first-ever ticket to the Africa Cup of Nations, although they were knocked out in the group stages. It is now up to Harambee Stars to take up the mantle, and Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya has challenged the national team to lift the CHAN title in their build-up to the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations.
What I will be embarking on in the next few weeks is to prepare our team Harambee Stars, make sure that they win a trophy in that championship.
Barclay Feather, Prime Edition Sports.
Top seeds Charles Keeble and Ryan Guizima have expressed confidence of clinching this year's current squash open schedule for the May 27th all the way to the 31st at the current Golf and Country Club. Over 50 players are set to take part in the satellite tourney, which will also count towards the global ranking.
Top seed Zimbabwean Brian Gwizima and number 2 seed former British under-19 champion Charles Kibo will be hoping to carry their recent good form into this year's Karen Open.
Ready for this tournament. Last week I was playing a tournament in England. I lost round 2 to a guy from Poland, and week before I was playing in a satellite in Bristol. I lost in the semi-final to a guy 3-2, and I've been preparing very well.
2 weeks ago I was in Poland in the same level event, reached the semi-finals, so hopefully be able to one-up that this weekend.
The duo, however, expected not to easily have it their way. Stiff opposition expected from home players led by 3rd seed Muqtadir Nimji, 7th seed James Dalidi and 15th seed Vivant Sagar.
Probably one of my highest seedings for a PSA event, so it's a bit of added pressure, but I try and look past that and just focus on my squash and my preparation.
Standard of the squash will be very high because I personally have seen both the seed 1 and 2 playing, as well as our Kenyan number 1 Muqtadir, who is seeded 3, and it'll be fantastic squash for the Kenyans to come and watch both here at the club and online.
Points earned in the tournament will boost the players' ranking globally.
To participate in international events, you need to have PSA ranking points, and this satellite event provides the opportunity for the ones who are here as well to get some more points and to be able to compete in higher tournaments.
The women's category has attracted a competitive field of 20 players. The battle for the title is set to pit top seed Polite Mubura of Zimbabwe against Kenya's 2nd seed and national champion Elizabeth Mulwa and Ugandan and 3rd seed Julian Ainomugisha.
Very pleased to welcome even the players here today from internationally, and it really helped to kind of drive the quality of squash being played. So we're very happy and proud to be hosting this event this week.
Youth and involvement, getting sports brings people together. There's passion, there's creative, and as a lifestyle brand, we want to be involved in that, in the sense of just creating memories and great experiences for the community. So it is quite significant. It definitely is a bit of a niche sport, but we're trying to make it go more global, even within the local communities.
Winners will, in both the men's and women's categories, share the $2,000 prize purse. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition.
Grenada's 2-time world javelin champion and Olympic bronze medalist Anderson Peters has arrived in Nairobi, Kenya, ahead of the 6th edition of the APSA Kipkeino Classic Continental Tour, scheduled for Saturday at Ulinzi Sports Complex. Peters, who clinched gold at the 2019-2022 World Championships and bronze at the 2024 Paris Olympics, will be competing in Africa for the first time. He is set to battle for top honors against Kenyan 2015 World Champion Julius Yego. The Kipkeino Classic, part of the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series, continues to attract top-tier athletes from around the globe, with this year's event expected to feature a stellar lineup, including Olympic and world champions in various disciplines.
It's 90 metres 75. Anderson Peters back in the driving seat, trying to be.
A 33-man squad of national men rugby team Kenya Simbas will travel to South Africa this week for a 1-month high-performance training ahead of the 2027 Rugby World Cup qualifiers in Uganda. This is after the Simbas management announced the players who will be traveling as Simba prepare for the upcoming Rugby Africa Cup in Uganda, which doubles up as the 2027 Rugby World Cup qualifier. Frederick Mwoki has the details.
The squad, which was announced by the management, includes, among others, Captain Jude Nyambua, as well as exciting new talents in Samuel Oviamu and Collins Indechi. John Okoth, Samuel Asante and Bethwell Anami returned to the squad, having featured in the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifiers in France. The Simbas played a training match against UAE Rugby on Saturday at the RFA grounds to conclude the local program. On the upcoming Rugby Africa Cup in Uganda, which doubles up as the 2027 Rugby World Cup qualifier, Simba's head coach Jerome Pawota said the team will be playing some experienced sides from Western Province of South Africa, such as SWD Eagles, the Blue Bulls and Sanlam Boland Cavaliers. The 33 will depart for South Africa later in the week, where they'll be joined by South African-based duo of David Bunduki and Thomas Okeo during the last leg in Limpopo, courtesy of the Blue Bulls, as well as Hilary Mwanjilwa, who is working on his return to play protocol following a long injury layoff after last year's international duty. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Double Olympic champion Beatrice Chebet was at her very best once again at the Rabat Diamond League meeting, which is the fourth meeting of this season series held on Sunday night in Morocco. Chebet clocked a new African and Diamond League record on her way to the 3,000 meters victory.
Beatrice Chebet reduced her personal best time by almost 13 seconds as she won the 3,000 meters at the Rabat Diamond League meeting on Sunday night. She finished 15 seconds ahead of second-placed Nadia Batocletti of Italy, while her compatriot Janet Chepngetich finished a distant 10th.
Big national record over 3,000 metres. It's the second fastest time of all time. Beatrice Chebet. She's brilliant at the longer distances, brilliant on the roads, brilliant 10,000, 5,000.
Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi clocked his season best time of 1 minute 43.37 seconds to finish third in the 800 meters behind Masalela Shepiso of Botswana and Max Bajin of Great Britain, who were first and second respectively. Other Kenyans, Wycliffe Kinyamal and Aaron Kemei, had to settle for 6th and 12th positions respectively.
There's another step up from last week. Others following with fast times behind.
2022 Commonwealth Games champion Ferdinand Omanyala finished second in the 100 meters, clocking 10.05 seconds behind winner Akani Sibine of South Africa.
Second and between them, Fred Curley a close third, 9.95, and with a very slight following wind. That is great running.
Edmund Serem and Abraham Kibiwot were third and 12th in the 3,000 meters steeplechase.
Ultimate time. What a brilliant run from El Bakali. What an astonishing run from Rupert. And look at that, just outside 8 minutes. But it is a new world lead, and Rupert has smashed the European record. There's no doubt about that. 8:00.
Well, that does it for the day's sports, and that concludes Prime Edition tonight, backed by the newsroom and also the production crew. We want to thank you for choosing us and for making us your voice. I will be back again tomorrow. My name is Mboya. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. And remember, Muchuma Odim will be with me on set. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. Bye.
About nurses.
We spend 24 hours with a patient. You're lucky as a patient to spend an hour in 24 hours with a doctor.
The nurse ensures that preparation of all equipment, instrumentation is done.
Your vital signs are okay, your BP is okay, 120/71, and also heart rate is 83, which is very normal.
They keep that spirit of being kind, no matter how the condition of the patient, wakuwe tu wazuri kwao.
It's about compassion, courage,
and the quiet strength that nurses bring every single day.
The first person who touches a human being is a nurse. And the person who gives you that peaceful goodbye during the logic end is a nurse.
And as the world pauses to honor nurses, we share the story of the people who show up not for recognition, but for a simple, powerful mission: to care.
Hey, how you doing? It's Blinky Bill, and you're watching Grapevine on KBC. Boom, keep it locked.